move on to Kurdistan?
Sure.
Yes.
Let's start there.
Can you, first of all, we saw the statement that you issued, but has anything transpired since the conclusion of the referendum? Have you arrived at any other?
Well, I know that the actual vote numbers have not come in yet. We know that the turnout was obviously quite high, and we certainly would understand why. A lot of enthusiasm, certainly, for that. I think our position, the U.S. government's position on the Kurdish referendum, we've talked about since the very day I got here, and that was that we did not support that referendum. Despite our efforts and our ongoing conversations with both Mr. Barzani and Mr. Abadi, the Secretary had spoken with them both by phone, I know, in recent days. We expressed our deep concern about that, and also our disappointment that they decided to go ahead and conduct that vote yesterday. We look at that as a unilateral referendum, and it was something that the coalition partners, the de-ISIS coalition, I don't think there was a single nation that supported that.
Today, the Iraqi government said, or in fact, they gave ultimatum to the Kurdistan region to close their airport system because they intend on closing the airspace. Do you have any comment on that? Does that, drive both?
So we've seen that. I've certainly seen that report. I'm aware of it. One of the things we would do is call on all sides to engage constructively. That, if that is in fact accurate, it would not be an example of engaging constructively. We want both sides to come together and have some conversations and be able to move things forward, but do it in a constructive fashion. Okay. Yeah. Hi.
So on your statement, you said that you will continue your historic relationship with the Kurdish people. Do you mean only the Kurdish people or with the Kurdish government as well?
Well, I think our conversations will be ongoing. We will continue to have conversations both with our friends in Baghdad as well as our friends in the north as well. We have a lot of conversations. As you all know, we have a close relationship with both. The United States government and the coalition's concern about this and the timing of this referendum was we didn't want to splinter Iraq. We see the primary issue as taking on ISIS, defeating ISIS, annihilating ISIS, so that they never come to try to rule over and terrorize the Iraqi people again. We'd like to keep our eye on the ball with that. That failed. That is a concern of ours and is deeply disappointing.
And one more question. Aren't you worried that by clearly taking the side of Baghdad, you might discourage compromise from the side of Baghdad, or
I would take issue with the premise of your question. We don't see it as taking sides with Baghdad. We support a unified democratic Iraq.
Okay. But by opposing the referendum, isn't that taking side with Baghdad's position?
We support a unified democratic Iraq, and we want everybody to keep their eye on the ball, and that is annihilating ISIS.
And on Iran's decision to halt air flights between Kurdistan, from and to Kurdistan, would you condemn that?
I'm not aware of that, so I'm sorry. I don't have anything for you on that. Anything with Lori? Hi, how are you?
Hi, fine. You said you want to see constructive dialogue. What about President Erdogan's statement that threatening to close the border and to cut off oil exports? When we close the taps, their revenues will vanish. They won't be able to find food. Is that constructive dialogue?
I think that certainly sounds like a threat on the part of President Erdogan, but I'm not going to comment on what he's had to say.
And what about these implicit threats of military action against the Kurdistan region? What is your view of them?
Military action by
Turkey, Iran, and Iraq.
Look, we want safety and security for the Iraqi people. We had tremendous concerns with this referendum. We've certainly talked about that a lot. That referendum had no basis in the Iraqi constitution or the law, and I'll just leave it at that. Okay.
But these threats of military action, you don't firmly oppose them?
Look, we oppose violence from any party. I mean, that is clear. We would oppose violence in any way. We want to keep our eye on the ball of ISIS, and that is it.